Good day. I want to talk to you today about what is addiction. What qualifies a habit or a problem as an addiction? When does it step up from being something that's wrong, something that's a bad habit, to something that is now an addiction? Addictions are consuming, controlling. You have trouble stopping them. They have an effect on your life. Addictions can actually be good or bad. In the Bible, in the New Testament, there's a passage that talks about the apostles being addicted to the ministry. That's a great addiction, but there's bad addictions too, of course. So we have smoking and drinking and cocaine and video games and caffeine addictions, all these different addictions. Are all of them at the same level? Are all of them addictions? Can you really classify video games as a serious addiction you need to do something about? When we think of alcohol addiction, most people understand that to be something dangerous, something you don't want to mess around with, something you want to avoid, something that when you have that addiction, you want to get rid of it. But what about something like video games? What about something like caffeine? Okay, so we want to kind of qualify an addiction to help better understand these things that are dangerous and these things that are not so bad, and maybe not even addictions, right? So there are lots of things in our life that can be addictive, that we can get addicted to, but they don't necessarily affect our quality of life. Someone who drinks 2 cups of coffee a day may have a tendency towards coffee, but they're not so addicted that that it has a negative effect on their life. Okay, but someone who is addicted to alcohol, you have these negative effects. You have these outbursts. You have a loss of control. You have dangerous driving. You have an effect on their liver. You have effect on their blood pressure. These are dangerous things that happen when someone gets a hold of alcohol and alcohol gets a hold of them. And I think it's a really important distinction to make is this idea that an addiction will get a hold of you and you no longer have control. It makes me think of Pharaoh in the Bible when Moses came before him and asked him to let the people go, the children of Israel go. Pharaoh said no. And then he came again, Moses came again, and Pharaoh said no. And of course, Moses was bringing these plagues to Egypt by the power of God. And Pharaoh continually told him no every time Moses would come, and he would bring these plagues and he would bring this request. And it was Pharaoh's free will at first. But after a while, the Bible says God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh lost control of his own heart. And that's what an addiction does to you. It takes control of you to change you to be someone who no longer has the will to say no. And it's a serious thing. It's very, very serious. And it can happen with so many things. So when you have a serious addiction like this, there's a proverb, I believe it's a Native American proverb, that says, man has alcohol. Alcohol has alcohol. Alcohol has man. And that's the cycle you go through for addiction. Okay? So you start out with these cravings and this sense of reward. Whenever you're drinking alcohol, you get that buzz. Smoking gives you a buzz. Playing video games gives you that dopamine high. It's in your brain. The same way that alcohol and cocaine and heroin trigger off these neurons in your brain for a sense of reward, video games do the same thing. And a lot of addictions will do that to you. That's part of what makes them addictive is that reward. And you start to crave them when you don't have them. So you think about, oh, I want alcohol. I don't have any right now. I need to go to the bar. I need to go down to the liquor store and buy some. When you have that addiction, you want more of it. And when you don't have it, you crave it. because it's in your brain. It's rewiring you. Your brain no longer functions the way it's supposed to. This is what an addiction does to you. Okay, and it takes over your life by rewiring your brain, changing your thought processes, and you can say to other people, I can handle it, I've got it under control, but in fact, it has you under control. And that is a sin. Addiction to anything that is dangerous, destructive, or even fleshly and worldly, like video games, is a sin. If it controls you and it is not godly, it is a sin.